is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chicken Bone Alley, brought to you by SRI Performance, Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, Earl Ramey Racing Engines, and Profab Headers and Exhausts. What's going on, guys? I'm David.
I'm Connor.
What's up, man?
Not a whole lot.
Monday.
A little bit of school, a little bit of racing over the weekend.
Yeah.
Just kind of been
A little bit of spotting
taking
for you.
kind of been taking it easy. What about you?
About the same. No school, though, unfortunately. No, a little bit of work, a little bit of racing. Obviously church on Sunday. And then Jackson had his birthday party at the Langston Ranch out here. I'll tell anybody. I was telling Connor a little bit about it. If y'all are in this area, the PD area over here, especially if you got kids, cool place to take them is the Langston Ranch out there in Coward. Good friends of ours, Hamp and Lizzie Langston. Lizzie does everything out there. That's her baby out there. They have it's an awesome little place. I mean, it looks like a big field out there. But they got like a slide over there that's made on the back of an old dump truck. And the dump truck was lifted up and they made it a slide and got steps go up to it. And Landon actually works out there. He works out there during their season. They kind of wait till the end of summer now, fall, and they have a lot of opening then because they don't open much during the summer. It's too hot. But they got a lot of little activities like that, little bouncy pads and all this stuff for kids. It's like inflatables, but it's not like a bounce house. It's just this open pad out there.
I know what you're talking about.
So just, and then we had, I'm trying to think they got zip lines. That's what Landon works all the time. Landon mans the zip lines all day long, taking kids off the zip lines and all that stuff. So, then I got a bunch of farm animals out there, and it's kind of like a petting zoo too. So, but anyway, so it was Jackson's 9th birthday party. So he got a bunch of presents and had a lot of fun. His birthday's actually tomorrow. So, all that fun jazz. Then that was about it. All that fun stuff. We'll get in. We got some guests coming on here tonight, hanging out with us, talking about the Star Super Stock Tour this week coming up at South Boston Speedway. We'll talk about it coming up here soon with some guests here coming on. But we talked about it a little bit. We had some racing this weekend, Connor.
We did.
You drug Old Yeller out.
Yep, school bus made a return, as we like to call it. I don't know. Whatever that day me and you raced at Florence was the last time I think it's been raced.
It?
Yeah,
That was early in the year.
Yeah, so we were hoping it was going to be okay, and it was. It was pretty good. It was ran pretty good lap times all day, qualified pretty good, and had a crazy race. We it felt like we had about a 5th or 6th place car, which wasn't bad. And I didn't feel like we were that far off of the top 5, but we ended up having to dodge some wrecks and surviving 10 cautions, 10 restarts, and brought it home 3rd, thankfully. A little bit of luck, but not too bad overall.
Me and Pete were standing up there beside each other during the race, and I had my phone out with race monitor on it. He kept looking at it. How many to go? I said, still 11.
Yeah.
Still 11 to go. It was 11 to go for an hour.
Yeah.
It seemed like.
Oh, yeah, I know. And we had an old slick on the track for a while on that.
I'm going to tell you what, I don't know how nobody busted their tail on that. I mean, it was bad. It was, there was one time Dennis went down in the corner, went down in one completely sideways. I mean, just turned all the way around and somehow got in the corner, straightened up, kept on going. Barry did almost the exact same. I was spotting for Barry, and I had already told him it was so around. I was like, lock it down, because I thought he was just around. And all of a sudden, it just pops back forward and he keeps on going. I'm like, all right, never mind. So, but you managed to squeak out a 3rd place finish?
Yeah. We were. Like I said, we had a couple of them that weren't earned.
Take it how you can get it sometimes.
We weren't bad. So, I mean, we had to be there. We felt like we were close enough to pounce when other people got wild. So,
I'm gonna tell you, I just watching yours. I think if that thing had some motor in it,
That motor, we had some older tires, so that
Yeah.
kind of, as the race went on, it seemed like it just kind of got looser and looser. So the caution ended up helping us out. I thought they were going to hurt us because I was afraid we were going to get too loose. But yeah, we survived, and it wasn't. I mean, it drove good, ran fast lap times. There's just some pretty good cars out there.
For some reason, the fastest I've been over there, and obviously, I mean, yours is similar, but it seems like the faster I get over there, just the looser the car feels.
Yeah.
Every time
I mean, you
I've had
gotta
a
be
decent
loose.
car,
Yeah.
things loose as I don't know what. Feels like it's wrecking loose, but it's you're running up front. It's like, well, I guess I'm all right. I guess I don't know. What do you do? So, well, that's cool. We ran Challenger class over there, and I was a fourth place car.
Yeah.
Where I
That's what
was
we
all
ran.
day long, fourth place. So I went out there actually by myself for a long time. There Saturday, and then my buddy Matt Grantham come out there and help me. And my dad got there. My mom and dad had been on a cruise, and they made some good time back. I think they left Port Canaveral about 7:30 a.m. and he was at the track before 4 o'clock. So he was getting along pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
So no, that was cool. But we got the car a lot better, and kind of worked on it through the day and changed a couple things, and seemed like every change made on the car made it better.
Yeah.
So, and me and Connor were just talking. I mean, it's like you said, it didn't look bad. I mean, it wasn't running terrible lap times by no means, but I just need that little bit more. And boys up front was strolling. They had a good race though.
I was.
They had a real. I know you had a probably better view of
Oh,
it.
yeah, there
than
were
I
several. I mean, there were car counts were great, but Challengers ain't like model both put on a pretty good show there.
Yeah, I mean, J.R. Moore ended up taking the win in the Challengers there, but him and little Ricky Locklear there traded the lead back and forth a couple times. I was watching it. I was sitting there like, yeah, y'all keep racing hard. Maybe I'll get up there. I don't know. But it didn't work out for me. They ended up sorting it out, and their last few laps, JR ended up pulling it. He didn't pull off. He was right in front of him, and little Ricky slapped the wall one time, and I was like, ooh, that's gonna slow him down. Nah, I was wrong. It didn't slow him down at all. I don't know how. That's a tough car because he hit the wall a ton and kept on digging. So it was a good race. Like you said, late model race was good too. I think top three pretty much traded back and forth a few times
they were all
through that race.
Carly apart the whole race.
Yeah, so that was a fun race to watch. A lot of good races. Down on car count a little bit, and we kind of with all the stuff that went on in North Carolina, I had kind of expected it a little bit. I think just because there's some race teams up there that have lost everything, even so. Everybody still be in prayer for all of Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, that area after Hurricane Helene come through. Still dealing with the effects of it, and it looks like this week. Florida's about to get hit with another one. It's showing right now. It's going to hit as a Category 3. So, y'all seen what can happen. I mean, Florida knows what can happen. I mean, that's a crazy situation for the mountains. So, Florida knows what can happen. So, if you can get away from there, just get away for a little while. It stinks. Get hit back to back. So, anyway, but y'all, I was laughing at what Matt said on here. He talking about it's hard to hear while he's cutting the grass on the tractor. Well, get off the tractor and listen. Or either go cut the grass. 1, 2, God. Nah. But yeah, y'all get out of the way of them hurricanes. They ain't nothing to play with. Answer a question real quick from our buddy Kel Mabin. As we saw the wreck at Ponderosa. Yes. Also, pray for those folks. I don't know if you saw it. Car went down and flipped and went outside the fence and landed on the end of the stands. And
Oh gosh.
fortunately, there was injuries, but it was not serious, no life-threatening injuries or anything like that.
Wow.
But I think it was two or three people had to go to the hospital, and I think there might have been some broken bones, stuff like that, but nothing super major, you know. I mean, so very fortunate there that it wasn't no worse than it was, and it was just a bad racing deal from what I saw, just dirt cars racing. And
Yeah, I have to go look at it.
all of a sudden, one just ends up crossed up and over, and phew, it was a bad situation. So anyway, there was a but going back to Dylan real quick, me and Chad talked about my car today. I got to figure out that little bit of turn there in the center of the corner, as we all do.
Yeah.
That's what everybody fights.
Yeah,
All
you
day
never have
long.
enough
You
center
never
cut.
have enough. Never have enough. That's kind of a game of, but I feel like I don't know, the racer in us wants to go out there and just be fast. We know we all want that. But we completely changed up the front end of this car, and this is only the second race I've run on it. So
Really, the first,
yeah, because
and everything.
that's what I was fixing to say. We found on the car, whole front end was, well, not the whole front end, but the I think I said it last week on here, but anyway, the steering idler arm mount was broke on the car, so it was hard to really judge what we had. So, I mean, I knew it was bad. That's all I knew. So, it was really first time out there, and everything worked as it should, other than all of a sudden my temperature gauge quit working. Go figure.
Something
It's always
wrong.
something. Always something. But I was like, hey, if it starts running hot, I'll see water coming out of it over there. So I hadn't had no problems with that. So we were good there. Still with your car.
We're still trying to decide. We want to get our other car going here soon, which is kind of what we're trying to go here. Trying to figure out what's the best motor combo to go with, and you know how it is, different rules, different tracks. Trying to decide
I hear you.
where we want our stuff, what car we want our stuff on, what car has what set up. But we're looking to get back going soon.
I say just, even if you got to change the motor in and out, I think it's about easier to change the motor in and out than it is to change the setup on a car. Just set one up for Florence, one up for Dylan. If you got to change the motor back and forth, I'd rather do that.
Yeah, we'd like to, run Caraway and some of the other tracks.
Yeah.
Maybe make a trip up there sometime. And, they all run a ride height. So we kind of, I don't know, we just got to trying to decide what we want to do here, but ready to go soon.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Me and Chad were talking about it, and I had thought about running Florence this weekend, and we got to debating on setup stuff, and man, it's one of them things with my car. It's like, man, I just hate to change everything. That we're going in the right direction. I feel like let's get that set. Then we'll just get an extra set of shocks and springs, and that way we can just swap everything and then put it back, and it be right back in where it was. If we're gonna do that. So decided we're not gonna run. I'm gonna probably wait till next year and then probably do all that. So I don't know. Like I just said, racing at Florence Motor Speedway this weekend. That's the what is that? That's the
PD 225.
225. PD 225. That is it. That's going to be. And speaking of though, the Charger class, Charger division over there will have guys going to be running on. It would typically run on scuffs all year. The Williamson Feed and Tack, I think it is.
Williamsburg.
Yeah, Williamsburg Feed and Tack. I'm sorry. They decided to put in some more money, and they are upping the purse for Florence Motor Speedway this weekend for the Charger Series. So y'all go head out and watch them if you're here in town. But if you are anywhere near the South Boston Speedway, be sure to head out there because the Star Super Stock Tour will be on hand. And Miss Erin Goodman. Erin, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
I am lovely. How about you?
I'm doing good for a Monday. I've got a puppy by me and a cold beverage. It could be worse.
That's how you make it through a Monday, isn't it?
That's my recipe.
Well, Aaron, we appreciate you coming on here for sure and giving us a little rundown of what's going on this weekend. But 2 races left in the season for the Star Super Stock Tour. Before we get into this weekend, let's talk about the season as a whole. What's your thoughts on it? I mean, it's seemingly from the outside looking in, it's been a good season, had some great racing.
Yeah, it's been one that we couldn't have asked for and to go any smoother, any better. These guys are putting on a show every single time we show up to a racetrack, and they're putting it all out in the line, respectful, keeping it clean. And we just know anytime we show up, our guys are going to show out for us. And as promoters and, the ones putting on this race, you can't ask for more than that.
That's so good. That's so good. I mean, it started out first year. I remember back at the Icebreaker watching and right off the bat, obviously rolling over from the 23 season right into 2024, put on good racing right here in Florence and have gone around everywhere to all these tracks. Like you said, all these promoters have done a great job. Y'all have even taken it farther north, even into Virginia as y'all going to South Boston, but went farther north than anybody thought. A lot of people were naysayers, I guess we'll say, and we're like, that's gonna be tough.
Some critics, they thought we were crazy, but I tell you what, that's probably one of my favorite stops that we've done this year. Lonesome Pine was such a hidden gem. It produced great racing. Of course, Yoder and Sparks might beg to differ on the great racing on that race, but the people there, they were great. The fans were great. I keep telling Boo, I want to go back. We stayed in the cutest little town. I just want to go back to explore. Let's take the guys with us. Let's do it again.
For sure. And I'll tell you, I mean, that was a wild ride there that night for them guys. But is it one of the things, any publicity is good publicity? Because, man, that was a highlight reel for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever stop being a highlight. So it wasn't bad. We quickly got everything separated, sorted out, and they talked and cooler heads prevailed. So again, and it just shows how passionate our guys are and everything they put into it. They put it all out on the line. And like I said, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for.
For sure. Boo just said on here, we put on a dang show at Lonesome Pine, and he is not wrong. He is not wrong. I had asked him to come on here tonight, but I said you were prettier anyway, so we'd rather have you anyway.
He did share that. He'd still be in his hello. He's long-winded.
Well, it happens. So this weekend, South Boston, give us a little rundown.
We are going to Sobo, and man, I just saying those words is still surreal. The fact that we're here, it's race week. I feel like Boo and I have been talking and planning and trying to figure out how to make this happen for what feels like ever, and now it's here. Our entry list we're closing in on 15 cars pre-registered, and that says a lot. And so I know these guys are excited. They're ready to roll into South Boston. We've got an open practice on Friday. This will be their first laps around the track and getting a feel for it to get their game plan together for the race on Saturday. It's a day race. So, racing starts at 2:00 in the afternoon. So I'm excited to have some crisp fall weather, some race cars at South Boston, fried bologna burger. It's going to be a good Saturday.
Well, just to let everybody know, you're talking about just a few of the names we'll throw out here that some people, especially in our area, know. Obviously, Albie Ovitt is going to be there. Let's see, Mike Cooper. They'll be fighting for points there. Gary Ledbetter, always a threat. Our local here, Ricky Locklear Jr., going to be heading up that way. Jeff Melton with always some good-looking cars, and he's got another good-looking car now. That's just a few of the names racing at South Boston this week. And we'll throw up here, I got the points right here real quick. Obviously, everybody sees that Albio Vitt there is in the lead. Mike Cooper not too far behind, but Albie has stretched out that points lead just a little bit, and that has been a fun points race this year.
It is. It's going to be interesting to see how these last two races shake out, because again, anything can still happen, and consistency has been key, but it'll be interesting to see how these contenders show up and what they have at South Boston, and then we've got one more at Hickory to get through. So nobody gets to take it home yet. It's not secured just yet.
And that's what we like to see. We like to see it come down to the very last there, and two awesome tracks is coming down to South Boston and Hickory. What better way to end the season?
Right.
That is.
I couldn't ask for a better way. I love the fact that we opened this season at Florence. We're going to close it at Hickory. I think those are just two ideal places. And I think the racing is going to put up that lived up dream and that racing hype. So I'm excited. I know the fans are excited. The drivers are excited. Everybody's locked in. And I just it's still surreal that we're here. I feel like we've worked so hard and we've had so much going on. The fact that we're now closing in on this season is a little surreal, a little sad.
Little sad, but I'll go ahead and ask it now. How are we looking for 2025?
Man, oh man, that's probably my favorite topic that I wish I could talk about.
That's always a good thought there.
We have a lot of big things planned for next year. The Star Superstock Tour, it grew leaps and bounds this year, and it turned into way bigger. I mean, at one point, Boo and I were having conversations if this was going to be the final year, if we were going to put, it behind us, and we were going to focus on family, travel less, and neither one of us are ready to give it up yet. So we are still going to be here. We are still going to be digging hard. What we have planned for next year is going to be incredibly special. I don't think I'm allowed to announce it just yet, but we're going to be growing and adding some fun things to the tour next year.
That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to hear about it. Well, everybody, as you just heard, get out to South Boston this weekend, this Saturday. Early race. Can't ask for any better than that. It's great to go to the racetrack early and get home early. That's always nice.
Absolutely. We'll be throwing out some free T-shirts too.
Can't wait. So y'all head out there for sure. Aaron, we greatly appreciate you coming on here, talking with us, and can't wait to have you back anytime for sure. And hopefully we'll get y'all back on here soon. We talk to some champions here at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Star Superstock Tour there at South Boston. I'm gonna tell you what, Aaron and Boo there, they put on a great. Our buddy Boo Carlisle there, he's a great dude. If y'all hadn't ever watched his vlog, the Kicking Asphalt vlogs and all that stuff, man, he's on top of it. he's a lot of fun. Good dude for sure. Appreciate you, Boo. Appreciate Aaron for coming on here and talking about it. And like I said, I want to get him back on here, get some champions on here, get some race winners on here, and whatever we can do. We appreciate them for giving us some time and all that stuff. So, like I said, one more time, if you're in the South Boston area, anywhere close, get up there. That's going to be some great racing this weekend. You are not going to want to miss that. And while we're talking about that, really fast, if I can find where my buttons are, our buddy Skylar Whitfield is going to be singing the national anthem there.
Really?
He is.
Wow.
So that ought to be something pretty good for him. Oh, geez, I can't read it. One day I'm going to get prepared, actually, and sit here. But it's okay, because I got it right here on my phone. If I could hit the right button. Let's see. Our buddy Skylar Whitfield tomorrow, October the 8th, will be at the Brunswick Plantation there in Calabash, North Carolina. I'll tell you what. Go there. Go early, go late, whatever you got to do, because you can't get no better seafood than you get in Calabash, North Carolina. That's for sure. So if you like seafood, go to his show. Go get you some awesome seafood there in Calabash, North Carolina. On the 9th, Molly Darcy's Irish Pub. 10th, which is Thursday, Murphy's on the Ocean. That's in, I think that's North Myrtle Beach. Then Friday, Ink and Ivy in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then Saturday, he will be singing the national anthem at South Boston for that early race. Then hauling butt down to Double Vision in Rockingham, North Carolina.
Double duty.
And not close either.
Yeah.
So he's pulling the big double duty. So our buddy Skylar Whitfield, y'all go check him out. He will be in action on the microphone and on the guitar. A little bit of everywhere. So y'all go check him out. But before we get into to anything else here, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Chicken Bone Alley is brought to you by SRI Performance. They are your one-stop shop for all things racing. Do you need performance parts? Look no further. They offer a wide range of high-performance parts for various types of racing, including stock car racing, dirt racing, and more. SRI Performance also has the most knowledgeable employees in the industry. If you're looking for that hard-to-find part, they've got it. And if you're wondering how to make it work on your car, they know it. Check them out online at www.sriperformance.com. And when you do, don't forget to use the promo code CBONE10. That's C as in chicken, BONE10, and get 10% off at checkout. Stock Car Steel and Aluminum is a full-line steel service center stocking thousands of sizes, shapes, grades, and types of metals and plastic. If you need it, they have it. And if not, they work fast to find what you need and get it to you. Stock Car Steel and Aluminum also has the ability to cut orders to your specifications as requested. Their dedicated team not only brings many years of experience to the table, but they are always ready and willing to lend a hand with anything you may need. Stock Car Steel and Aluminum. Your material needs are covered here.
All right, y'all heard it. Y'all head over to them and tell them we sent you. I got to make an order with SRI probably tomorrow, actually. So I'll be using that promo code. Matt said he already had to spend some money with SRI and hadn't made it to track yet. Hey, I hope you used promo code CBONE10. C as in chicken.
Yep.
Could have got you 10% off. So, anyway, also, guys, head over to Profab Headers and Exhaust. They are quality that wins, guys. If you see a race car in this in victory lane, there's a good chance it's got Profab headers on it. So y'all head over to Profab Headers and Exhaust. Talk with our buddy Andy over there, and he'll get you lined up with headers for whatever application you got. Pretty much, they can hook you up. So y'all go get you a set of Profab Headers and Exhaust. Also, Earl Ramey Racing Engines. Earl Ramey Racing Engines is kind of your one-stop there for any type of engine you need, whatever you got, anything from street stock all the way up to super late models, pretty much. Anything in between. Don't matter if it's asphalt, dirt, whatever, he can hook you up. So y'all head over to Earl Ramey Racing Engines, get you some time on that chassis dyno of his. Never know when you need it. So y'all head on over there. Tell Earl we sent you. All right. I reckon we had some NASCAR action at Talladega, but we got some news from NASCAR to talk about for that dropped after the show last week. 2311 and Front Row Motorsports both went in joint and filed a lawsuit against NASCAR for monopolization, essentially, is how they worded it. And just a antitrust lawsuit is what it was. They got Jeffrey Kessler, who was the he has been in a lot of sporting lawsuits, I guess we'll say, and he pretty much configured the whole NIL deal for NCAA. So he's had works in the NFL, a little bit of everything. So this isn't he's a high profile lawyer.
Yeah.
Knows his stuff. I don't think he would have took a case he didn't think he had a chance in, personally. Basically, just breaking it down, there's a whole you can go online and read it. Most of you already have. Basically, though, there's I don't know what it didn't really, I don't know, you might have broke it down better than I did. It didn't really say what they were looking for out of it.
I think the general idea is just a larger profit share
I think
kind of deal, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's so much to it in a lawsuit like that, but I think that's kind of the general idea of it.
Yeah, that's what I gathered too. I don't know. I posted it on our Facebook page, you know, just the news article, and somebody was like, "Oh, go figure, Denny Hamlin do this. I hope he loses his charter." And I came back and I said, "Why do you want that? That would, in my opinion, you sit down and think about it, that would be terrible for the sport.
Oh yeah,
for them to lose their charter."
I mean, they got the biggest sport superstar in the world. Behind it.
That's one of the huge parts of it. But beyond that, that would put the other teams in a real bad spot, in my opinion. Because at that point, all right, if they just pulled their charter because of that, kind of leaves other teams, you know, vulnerable. It's like, all right, well, we can do one thing against NASCAR, or, you know, they don't like something, they can just take our charter if they let it happen. So I'm like, you know, I don't know. But we've talked about this on here before, and this was my generalization of, if anybody, you know, it's the way I see it. This is not reflective of NASCAR, whoever. This is just the way I see it. Let's say the Atlanta Braves. That's a team we talk about on here quite a bit. Let's say the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves can go out and have a losing season. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they keep on winning a little bit. But Atlanta Braves can go out and have a losing season. Their team is not losing money. Let's just say right now, because they're probably one of the worst teams in the league, the Carolina Panthers. They're having a losing season.
Yeah. And I've had several.
They're not looking good. And they've had several, like you just said. They're not losing money. The way NASCAR is set up, and this is racing in general, the way NASCAR is set up, though, if you just went off of the purse, went off of what NASCAR pays the teams off of the broadcast deal, stuff like that, the charter, if you go off what the charter agreement is right now, the teams are losing money off of what it costs to operate a team versus what they're getting paid from NASCAR.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is, it'd be like, okay, well, cut your costs. Well, the problem is it can't now.
Yeah.
Old car, could have, because they were making their own parts and pieces. New car, you are mandated to buy these parts and pieces from whatever source.
Yeah, I was listening to Hamlin's podcast just for a little while today. He was kind of saying, the only sport where over the last, just say a couple of decades maybe,
Yep.
that the superstars aren't like the drivers, crew
Kyle Larson
chiefs,
even said that.
the mechanics. Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Are making less money.
Yeah.
Which is he said the only people making the same amount of money or making more is the party suing. So yeah, it's very interesting because they signed a big TV deal this year.
$7 billion. Now it's over 7 years, so
Mhm.
essentially $1 billion a year.
And it's gonna come to the thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, think about it. You got to love racing to own a team, or you got to at least
Yeah.
like it. But it's not gonna be many people that just love it enough to just dump money. I mean, you got Rick Hendrick, Penske, those guys, RCR, Roush, those guys are getting up in age. There's going to have to be a new generation of people come in to manage these teams, and you got to like, but it can't just be there's not many people that are just going to dump infinite money in it just because they like to race.
We see how Justin Marks is having to go about it. He's done good, but he has brought in investor after investor after investor, and he's had to go out. He can't just start up his own Xfinity team. He's had to farm out. He wants these drivers. He wants to keep them in-house, but it's like, all right, what do I have to do to keep them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to find sponsorship for them. I got to farm them out to another team. So, which is a good...
It's a strategy. Yeah.
But it stinks that he's got to do that because there's not enough cash flow in the sport for him to start that team up himself without getting the driver to, and some of them still are, but most of the drivers, come with a big check, and that's what they're looking for nowadays, unfortunately. And I think this can stop that if this... I still think there will be a settlement before this lawsuit goes completely
the most
through.
likely thing, probably.
But I hope the outcome of it is enough where teams can operate off of the funds from NASCAR, through the charter agreement, whatever that is, as far as purses and profit sharing and whatever else. We don't know all that. We don't know the numbers anymore because they're a privately owned company now.
They don't want to rely so much on the sponsorship money, which is kind of what he was saying today.
Exactly.
It also would help you get the best drivers in the sport. You don't want to, like, say some of these mid-tier teams, you don't want to have to get a driver that solely based on sponsorship, but if that's what makes financially sense, you can't.
Well,
sometimes you have to.
I don't think it's just the mid-tier teams anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, any team.
I'm not trying to bash on anybody, but let's use Bubba Wallace for example. Bubba Wallace has made it into the playoffs once, or has he made it into?
I don't.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was close. Whatever. The average driver, would be kind of hurting for a job, but he's had contracts signed because he's got sponsors behind him. Regardless, whatever else anybody wants to think, cancel all that out right now. He's got sponsorship behind him. I'm just using him as an example because he's one I know. He's got sponsorship behind him, so he's going to have a ride. He's going to have a decent ride. And that's the thing is these teams are having to ask sponsors for more and more and more money. And
you see,
we know the economy ain't great.
There's hardly any of. I think even FedEx is going
They're
less
leaving.
sponsorship next year.
Exactly. So you're signing a $7 billion deal over here, but yet Sheldon Creed this year in the Xfinity Series made $0 off of his contract. Just because he had to take every bit of sponsorship money he could bring with him and give to the team to operate that, to fund that car.
Mm-hmm.
So he took $0 in his contract, made no money. And I'm just like, I know that's Xfinity, but still, this is going to have a trickle-down effect. I mean, regardless of what happened, it's going to have a trickle-down effect.
There's got to be an avenue for these teams to make money.
If you want to be comparable, and I've said this so many times, if you want to be comparable, they want to compare everything else to stick and ball sports and be a major sport in the country. If you want to be comparable, you got to pay comparable. Now, granted, I think I'm one of them of the assumption that pro athletes make too much money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it costs this much, and it does, the way that this new car, which I think has hurt some things in a way, but with this new car, I personally think it's made it to where they got to buy all these parts and pieces from these suppliers. And I'm not talking junk about the suppliers because SRI is one of the suppliers for it. For certain things, but they're not the manufacturer of it. The problem is the manufacturer of it's come in and just jacking the price up because it's like, hey, they got to buy this part.
Yeah. Well, it's like I've talked to people. And, this car is supposed to cut down cost. I doubt. I mean, they're going to find a way to spend that money if they got it. I mean, I don't think they're just going to, we got $1 million. Let's go, try and develop. I mean, it might be trying to gain 100th out of a part, but I doubt they're ever going to spend less money.
I don't think they are either. And the only way I think they would ever somehow manage to do that, they'd have to, make it like a NFL type thing with a salary cap of some sort, which is going to be super hard to impose.
Everyone's got that. They've already had so many
that's
times
the thing
people breach it,
and all they can say is, "Oh, you get a fine." It's like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I won the championship.
That's
Okay,
what happened.
I'll take the fine."
That's happened to Red Bull. That year that they won it, or first year that they got in so much trouble because they spent too much or whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know how you police it, but I do know. I know the engineers got, and it is. I mean, that's engineering on the car. They're over-engineered now. I mean, that's just point about it. They're over-engineered. But I know that that's a lot of the cost now is the engineering of these cars. But man, I feel like I know Denny Hamlin. It's just Denny Hamlin's in the middle of it. I know he's talked about, and he's one paying for it, so he should know. But he's talked about this car where they said it was initially said it was supposed to cut costs by about 30% or so. He said the cost from the old car to this car has pretty much tripled, is what he said. Now, I don't know.
It's inflation, everything, but
for sure.
There's just not to get investors in the sport, which is what they need. You got to have investors now. You got to have an avenue to make money, and they don't feel like they have it, I guess.
Not one. They don't have it. There's not a direct avenue. The only avenue is to make money in the sport right now. You got to get a pile of money out of sponsors, and it's just so hard to ask for that much money. And that's another thing, and it's in the lawsuit too. Let's think back in the 90s, especially. You look back at it, man. There was the Goodwrench number 3. There was the DuPont number 24. There was the in 2000 the Lowe's 48. The Miller Lite number 2. That's just what was on those cars forever. Even Denny Hamlin, for many years, it was the FedEx number 11. Well, because it's costing these sponsors so much, they can't put out that much. And so now you kind of have lost identity. And that's what really is tough. I mean, I can watch a race, especially the Penske cars, man. You see the cars out there, and it's like, who is that? Is that Cindric? Is that Blaney? And even sometimes Logano's is one of them with the, especially with the Menards colors or the whatever they got on there. But I mean, they just swap around sponsors so much that it's so hard to keep up with anymore. And like I said, that's part of the lawsuit is because that's how they explained it in the lawsuit is, it hurts the identity of the team because it's hard to sell. I mean, Kyle Larson's one right now. you do see them. You see number 5, HendrickCars.com stuff, and it's very identifiable. That's
Yeah.
Kyle Larson.
It's like you said, they're just having to ask so much from the sponsors. Nobody's going to do it for a whole season anymore. It just costs too much. So
That's right.
save some advertising money, go advertise somewhere else, or
That's right.
whatever the case may be.
It's gonna be. And I keep hearing all these people talk about. I don't think the fans are really interested in this. I think the fans are interested in it. I'd love to. I hope they have a camera in every court case.
Yeah, I mean,
I can watch it.
you just love. I love to see new teams come in and try it, and I don't know.
The France family or NASCAR in general has not spoke about it yet. One thing I will say that happened at the track, they went around kind of the media went around asking other owners, basically if they would be jumping into it and or asking their opinion on it, and nobody would really get too in depth on it. Nobody said they were really jumping in on it, and they've already signed the contract, so by that they can't. But in saying that, just like Richard Childress finally spoke out, and he said that he was pretty much forced to sign the contract. That's how he said it. He said, I didn't have a choice. He said, for my sponsors, for the manufacturers, and for my employees, they told us, they come down here and told us, you got such and such amount of time to sign this contract or we're pulling your charter. He said, I didn't have a choice but to sign it. Which is surprising coming out of Richard Childress, actually, because of how long he's been in NASCAR. So I don't know. It's going to be wild. And Jeffrey Kessler already said if it goes trial, he said he expects a year and a half, 2 years for it actually be in trial.
Wow.
But I know they got a preliminary hearing coming up here in the next couple weeks. So
Keep an eye on it.
yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a hot topic till it's settled. And I still do. I think it'll get settled out of court.
Yeah. Just how far are they going to push it,
Exactly. So, in saying that, there was some racing that went on, I guess. Did you watch any of the truck race or
A little bit of it, yeah.
what'd you think? I didn't get to watch it, too.
Just whatever you would imagine Talladega truck race to be like.
Pretty much.
Just super speedways are just overused to me. I feel like
Yeah.
I used to get excited when it was Talladega or Daytona week.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just with Atlanta. They're just all the time now. But
Yep.
I don't know. It was all right. I mean, it ain't. Granny Finger won. Yeah.
Yep.
Just they all try to wait. That's what I don't get it. They all try to wait till turn 4 of the last lap to make something happen.
I think the races are too long.
And to no one's surprise, it's too late.
I think the races in general are too long. I figured you can go out there, run every race, run 20 laps, and
Might as
call
well.
it done.
Yeah, it's always worth watching in those races.
Exactly. Sammy Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Got him
know
on
anything
in.
about Xfinity.
I was at the track, so I
Yeah.
didn't see it, but I did see Sammy Smith won the Xfinity race. So good for him. I like Sammy. He seems to be a good guy. Cup Series. Few things to talk about there. Few things that happened. One, Ricky Stenhouse won the race after the biggest wreck ever, even at Talladega. It was 28
cars.
28
yeah.
cars. Yeah. Whew. That was a pile. That was a
That
pile.
was a pile up.
And I can't pinpoint one thing that just, other than just pushing.
It's like they said they had to dodge a lap car, and it's I've done it on iRacing too, where
yeah.
you kind of get your timing down, and when you go to bump the car, and I think Logano said the timing got off, and just a massive chain reaction went all the way up to the front, and it was just too big a
And it
bump to
did.
handle.
I watched, they were showing in cars. It was just like an accordion, just do 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 do.
Yeah.
And man, that was something else. All right, so when that happened, there was about 3 things that happened there that people are upset about rules wise, officiating wise. First thing, and probably one of the most glaring things that happened was, a week after Josh Berry got spun, didn't even hit a wall, got spun, and they didn't let Josh Berry, they wouldn't tow him back to the pits to get tires, and that's all that was wrong with the car, was tires. They said he was involved in an accident, he was DVP, and if you have to get towed on DVP, you're out the race. Well, about that, and they said, NASCAR said last week that they would look at changing it through the off season, but they would not change it during the season. That's what they said.
Switched up on that.
I guess their feelings changed because all of a sudden, after this wreck, there's
you got a parking lot of about 7 cars.
yes. Well, they just take all the tow trucks they can, red flag the race, and start towing them to their pits. Sitting in them backwards and every other way they could. They didn't matter. Just tow them to their pits and drop them. Because they had flat tires. And the bad thing is there was a couple of them I saw had broke toe links.
They were tore up,
I mean, they were legitimately tore up. Like Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott didn't spin out.
No.
He was hit 17 times, and I don't know if he ever did he get back on the track and finish the race?
He was on the track at one point, but I don't know if he finished
He
the
was
race.
super slow.
Yeah, it was all tore up.
I don't know, but he got to go on the track and make another lap to probably pass some people. So I don't have anything against Chase Elliott, but
He was a lot more tore up than
Josh Berry
I mean, he was.
was
That's one that they could have applied the
Yeah.
rule.
easily. And there was quite a few more. The 14 car sat back there.
Oh, yeah.
And he obviously...
wheel was pointing one way.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's just a toe link, but I mean that's not. You're not gonna be able to drive that way, and you can't get pushed that way.
Exactly. So, I don't know. Apparently, they're and Josh Berry didn't seem too happy about it when he come out the care center. I
wouldn't
saw
be
an
either.
interview, and he was kind of upset about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
I wouldn't either. I was not either.
These cars are so deceiving because it's like I was talking to Dad, and it was like that big wreck. Nobody looked tore up.
No.
They're just, but I mean, stuff is broke underneath, but you just can't tell him. You can't tell who's tore up.
It's all underbody and suspension now. The body looks, top of the body is like, they ain't hardly hurt. So, it's rough. So that happened, which was the biggest probably cause of uproar in the, especially on Twitter and in the NASCAR community, we'll say. The next thing that happened, and boy, the Chase Elliott haters came out on this because they pulled him back to the pits. Red flag was out. Well, all of a sudden they pulled the red flag, put out the caution, but still didn't let the cars move. So as soon as they put out the caution, they let everybody that was on pit road start working on their cars. Most of them got their cars out of pit road before the cars ever came by.
You can always trust NASCAR to make the wrong decision.
So they were, granted, yes, they were still on DVP, so they had to get cars out. But just think about it. Let's think about like Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman come back and finish 16th, I want to say. He was in the teens. 16th, 18th, somewhere there. And just for instance, I mean, if you're a competitor racing against him, man, you want to get him back as far as you can because that's, I mean, in the playoffs, I get it. I'm glad he finished there personally, but coming from a very objective view, I'd want to finish far ahead of him as I could. Well, what I would want is him to have to sit there in the pits, get worked on, get put a lap
Under
down.
the usual caution rules, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, since they've done that, most of them did not get lapped. So there was a lot of people upset about that. Third thing was kind of frivolous in my opinion. It wasn't much worth nothing. Ricky Stenhouse, they got hit pretty hard in the door during that wreck, supposedly, and it tore apart a doorway. And the rule is you're not supposed to race without the foam in the door. Well, there was a big section of his door foam that was gone out of it.
Oh, really?
And so there were some people talking about it. And it was just like, I don't.
Yeah.
That's not a big worry for me. that's not top of my radar. Now, the pulling them back to the pits.
That was a very interesting call.
Yeah. I just, look, in my opinion, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with how they did Josh Berry. But if they'd looked this week, all these guys want to get towed back, like, nah, that's our policy is we don't. You were involved in a wreck. We tell you you're going to the garage. You're done. Maybe I wouldn't like it. Maybe I'd rather see them go to the pits. But
at least that's the
at
rule.
least you're consistent and going by the rule. It's just the inconsistency, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't. That's what I was. I couldn't believe when I saw them get towed. You know, because they were just dragging them. You know, they were. I mean, it's
They
not
were
like
dragging them too.
they was well damaged cars. So I don't know. I guess they decided that they didn't want to have to park 7 cars, but
I heard Elton Sawyer's
yeah, I kind of saw something about
explanation. I'm like,
he's in a rough spot. I'd hate to have to
he
explain that.
He is, because with somebody above his head making the call.
Probably, yeah.
And he's got to be the guy that's got to go out there and talk to everybody. And he's like, well, we don't. Our intention is not to have raceable cars parked. Well, about that. So, I don't know. I think that'll just be the norm now. I think pretty much anybody that, oh, you got some flat tires? Yeah, just tow it back to pits if you can get it going. And I think that should be it, personally. Yeah. I personally think this whole DVP, all right, you got a time on it. I personally think, I don't care how bad their car is, if they can go to the pits and fix it back to what is considered raceable and make minimum lap time, whatever. If you can't, park it. That's just my opinion. I mean, there are rules on that. They can't use bear bond and stuff in it. Well, apparently they can in certain cases. I don't know. There was, who was it the other week had bear bond on?
Kyle had it bare bonded up one day at Watkins Glen, yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly they wasn't even supposed to be using tape and stuff anymore. I don't know. But there's rules on it. You can't just cut. Now I think you got to have a nose on the car. You got to have a hood on the car. You can't just race.
Have modifieds out there anymore.
Right, exactly. So if there's these rules, if they can, in that allotted amount of time, if they can put a car back on the track within those rules, okay, fine.
Let 'em go,
I don't
yeah.
have a problem with that. So I just hope that's the way the rule goes. But after this week when they said, oh, we're going to wait till the off season and see how that goes, and then don't, it's just so aggravating. So aggravating. So anyway, but other than that, race wise, what'd you think? I hate the fuel.
I'll be honest. I'm not trying to say it's a boring race, but we were out late Sunday, and I honestly I fell asleep for most of the race. Woke up with about 20 to go, so that's really all.
Much.
That's really all that I saw was the last 20 laps.
You didn't miss much.
It sounded like, from what I read, that it was kind of deceiving. They looked like they were 3 wide the whole time, or they were kind of fuel saving. Or
yeah, they were 3 and 4 wide even, but they were going so slow. It's just. And somebody, Brett Griffin, wrote on Twitter. He's like, if this is what Talladega is now, let's just go one time a year. I'm fine with that personally.
yeah,
But I said, hear me out. I said, I think there's a fix. There is a fix. I think there's 2 fixes. I think the tire changing has got too fast. And so you can change tires so fast and still have to wait on fuel. If you slow that down, your fuel will be full regardless.
that and they're not even taking tires usually.
That's what.
So that's all they're trying to do.
So
They can save that 1 second of fuel.
that's right.
10 spots on pit road.
That's right. So even on super speedways, let's put some sort of tire that maybe don't blow out, But when it gets wore out,
Words changing. Yeah.
you're slipping and sliding around, and so at least if that tire wears out before the fuel runs out, it's worth changing.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys they might be trying to save tire, but they aren't necessarily trying to save fuel. So I don't know. That's just my thought. It won't ever happen. They don't listen to nobody. They don't listen to fans.
No.
I don't think. I don't believe they do. Not anymore. They just do what they want and make a car that's. I don't like the car. I'm just flat out. I don't like it.
Seemed like it raced okay when they actually went to go, but I mean,
Yeah, if
How
they
do you-
ever go.
how do you not? Yeah. But shoot me, I don't know, man.
Like a 20-lap race.
My man Kyle went to go 3 wide to try to win the race, and
Nobody
nobody went. They all just wanted to ride, but maybe that's something. It was. I have heard that it's hard to go 3 lanes when they're actually trying
That's
to
what I was
go.
fixing to say. They probably
So-
can't. They didn't
Some re-
trust it to go 3
Yeah,
wide.
for some
They didn't
reason,
do it.
everybody they would rather hold on to 8th and try and win, which must be they didn't feel that they could go 3 wide. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I hate to see it, but
Yeah. So
Whatever.
Roval coming up, Charlotte.
it's one part.
Change
That's probably the
Roval with
one
that.
part of the schedule that I would change. I don't know. I'm not against, and I'm not. It was a good run. I mean, I'm for NASCAR trying stuff. I just think it's kind of wore out. And with Charlotte racing so good now,
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't want another race at the Oval, because that's kind of where this car races good. Charlotte, Kansas, places like that.
Roval was a fun. Me and Sterling went a couple times, and
I mean, I'm not down. I'm not saying don't ever try it again. I'm just for now with
Well,
the way
I'm
this
just
car
saying-
races on.
what the cool part about the Roval was for us, and I know not everybody gets to do this. We were fortunate enough to do it. We watched it from the infield, so we were able to we walked around the whole time, and we'd go to different corners and watch different corners. And
Mhm.
yeah, you can do that from in the stands. But that was that was just a cool part to me.
Yeah,
just
sure.
to be able to be down there and kind of walk around the whole place,
That would be pretty
stay
cool.
in different places. And
Mhm.
watch different parts of the track and how they went through it, and it was really cool. I don't know what it is about road, and they come in and set up, temporary barriers, and so you could kind of get somewhat close through especially the slow parts. They'd have it so you'd be right there at the track, watching it, and the little breeze that was over it, stand on top of it, and watch them come through, and it was pretty cool. It is a cool idea, and it's,
Yeah, I'm not
it's
against
fun,
it.
but
I think it's time to go back to the Oval,
I don't disagree.
let them race, because I mean,
Have a third race there if you want.
yeah, I mean,
2 on the oval, and
one road course. I just
Road
think
course.
I don't know. I just think the Oval is really good right now, and the road course is kind of so.
I kind of missed the Daytona road course from COVID
Yeah.
when they ran it them couple times at Daytona because they wouldn't let them go to other places, so they just ran the Daytona road course. It's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not against trying stuff, but I think you kind of once it loses its kind of luster, and they kind of
Oh,
figure it
yeah.
out a little bit, so it's not so
Well, I think that's going to be
crazy of a race. It's fall. I think it just loses so much that I think it'd be better suited to. And I know they changed it
agree.
because for years the fall Charlotte race was terrible.
well, and that's what
But-
happened. It was the car.
But I think now the car's well suited to that, at least to put on decent racing.
yeah, that's it.
But it'll be back next year too. So
I know.
they didn't listen to me.
And listen about Chicago. I think the same thing's going to happen with Chicago too.
I hate
Especially-
Chicago because I just hope maybe this year I want one time for it to actually get the race without being in a monsoon.
And I don't think it'll be a good race.
You don't think so?
Nope.
I feel like the early part of the races have
Now-
been good, but once the track gets wet, they start
Let me-
tiptoeing around. It's not as good.
Let me take that back. Not saying it won't be a good race per se, but it just won't.
It's not as special anymore.
It's not.
I understand that part.
I think
yeah.
I think when it's dry, if it's just dry, I think you're gonna see, which we have not seen it be just dry.
Not for very long.
I think you're going to see the road course, the guys that are super good at road courses, being the Tyler Reddicks, the Shane Van Gisbergens, the AJ Allmendingers, even maybe. They're just going to take off and go. Now, maybe they put on a good race. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
that's kind of what I want to see. Yeah,
I'd love to see that, but I just don't know. I just don't know if it'll do it. I keep my expectations low.
I just don't get disappointed that way.
I don't know. But anyway, why don't you thank our good friends over at MPM Marketing, McAllister Precision Marketing. Guys, if you are in this racing game and want to make it up the ladder, you need a good marketing partner with you. And there's no better than MPM Marketing. Head over to marketwithmpm.com. Give it our friend Tanya. She'll get y'all set up and pointed in the right direction of everybody that you need to be in front of, everybody you need to see and talk to. She knows them all. So y'all go ahead over and talk with our good friend Tanya. Also, Dixie Made right here in Florence, South Carolina. Dixie Made, they got all the great brands, and their Christmas layaway is back. Man, only like 2.5 months from Christmas.
Wow, coming up fast.
And it's still hot outside.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that to leave. So y'all come down here. When you're down this way for anything, head over to Dixie Made right next to the Florence Flea Market. Y'all go see our friend Brandon over there. Tell him we said hey. Tell him we sent you, and go get some of the best brands that you guys love out there. Simply Southern, Southern Fried Cotton, and so many more. I will just name a couple. They got you from head to toe covered. So go see our friends over at Dixie Made. Also, Fresh Chef. Fresh Chef when you go to Charlotte this weekend, you'll be right there. Look up Fresh Chef, Google it. They got a few locations. One right in Concord. That's a location that is really good. So head over to Fresh Chef. You will not be disappointed. Drink and food specials for sure. Get shrimp and grits. That's one I love. So go get you some Fresh Chef. You'll love it. I promise you. Also, RevMax Racing Apparel, guys. RevMax. Head over to RevMax and tell him Connor sent you over there, because he got a good looking suit, and he's got some good finishes on it already. So no, they got you covered. Anything from your 2-layered or multi-layered SFI rated suits to your single layer karting suits, non-SFI. So y'all head over to RevMax Racing Apparel, and they get you hooked up. Alrighty. So what else? Like I said, we got Florence Motor Speedway this weekend. You gonna do anything or think
I don't know
this weekend?
I doubt it, but might go test one day over there. We want to be there soon. I don't know if we're quite ready yet or not.
I'm hoping to get some. Like I said, I gotta make an order from SRI this week. And hoping to get some of that stuff in, and I might go Saturday morning. Might go test over back at Dillon, maybe, if I get all that in like I want to. And
Cool deal.
our buddy
Try it
Chad
out.
said he may have something together. He wanting to go test too.
Oh.
Come on, that'd be
Good deal.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Have
Need
our own
a
little
couple of
race.
us on the track. Matt said he's breaking out the legend.
Break out the truck.
That's why they ain't racing this weekend.
Bring it anyway.
Next race is for truck is November.
Big race.
Noah and Dillon.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that is, the first weekend of November. Next truck, and then they have it at 400. So he better be in the truck, ready to go. Have it ready for it. What else you got, sir?
I don't know.
What's our sports teams looking like? We ain't even talking about
It's a bad
Carolina.
week this week.
Ah.
Braves got stomped in the playoffs. Gamecocks might as well have stayed home, I think, from what I hear.
Phew, it was bad. I went back and watched some replay or recap of that. And
That's the worst part about being a Carolina fan. You just don't never know what team's going to show up.
Again, keep your expectations low.
Oh, yeah. Don't ever get too high. They don't ever play 3 good games in a row.
Dude, I think
That's
we're
my
just,
rule.
and I've heard a few people say it, and I said it, especially after the LSU game. I just think we're lacking discipline right now. We got some good players, but we got some young players, and I think we're really lacking discipline right now, and just they're hurting ourselves more than anything else.
Yeah. I don't know. So, like you said, made some dumb mistakes. Kind of went for it on fourth down several times and couldn't get it.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. So
when you're not moving it enough through the first three, that fourth one's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. A good thing we get to play Mad Alabama this week. So
Yeah, that'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Alabama got
That's
beat
crazy.
by Vanderbilt.
Vandy might beat us this year. I mean, I don't know.
That's very possible. We beat Kentucky. I don't get it.
No,
I don't get it.
that's Carolina though.
That is. Florida State. Well, Clemson played Florida State. I thought Florida State was going to they looked good in the second half all of a sudden. Man, if they'd played like that in the first half, they'd have been all right.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw the very end of it.
Yeah, if they'd have played like that the first half, I think they might have, but they just couldn't put a whole game together. Who else I saw?
Arkansas beat Tennessee. It's a crazy week.
And Arkansas, every year, because me and the youth pastor at our church, actually, he's from Arkansas, so he's an Arkansas fan. And me being a Carolina fan, we pick around on time. We're like, we got the same team. If you squint real hard, they look exactly the same, and they play exactly the same. It's just like 1 week they'll be great. Next week, nah, can't play for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's a tough week. Glad you finished third. Glad I finished fourth.
Yeah. That's all we can control, can we? Ain't nothing we can do.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Appreciate all of y'all for sure. Also, still real quick, if anybody, especially here local, I know there's stuff going on everywhere. People taking donations for the families in Western North Carolina and Tennessee. If you're looking for anywhere to take something like that to, want to give anything, whether it be monetary donations or if you got supplies, and when I say supplies, I mean anything. I don't care if it's a pair of socks. I mean just anything right now. There's families up there lost absolutely everything. They some of them got out with the clothes that was on their back, and those were mud soaked. So but if you can, and if you don't know where to go to that's going to get it there, get with me. Shoot us a message. We can point you right in the direction wherever you're at. I'll find somewhere. If you're here local towards us in the Florence area, let me know. I think my sister-in-law is actually headed up that way Saturday to take some supplies to her sister-in-law who lives in Hendersonville, North Carolina, who is their water plant even got wiped out, so they don't even have water and don't know when they'll have water. So it's rough. It's rough for sure. So y'all still be in prayer for them. Be in prayer for Florida, everybody in Florida that's in the path of this other storm coming through, because it looks like it's going to be tough too. So anyway, guys, y'all stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next time.
Later.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, Matt said that truck's ready. Is ready? Ready? Let's go. When we're going to test. I go. Ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Ready to see it?
I ain't kidding. Let's go tomorrow. Come on. ready to get that thing on track. Alrighty, boys and girls. I reckon we will catch y'all next time. Have a good one.